Hello, 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 everybody. It's Tuesday. How to Tuesday in the house. Oh, yes, it is. Hey, 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 everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Say hello if you're painting with me. So, sea creatures. We're going to do some sea creatures. Let's do some octopuses. Yep, let's do them. And we're going to do probably a jellyfish. And maybe some other types of fish, learning about how to do underwater things. And hi Magna, hi beautiful. And let's say hi. Oh, so I'm Eve. This is Eve's Creations Paint Party. And let's say hi to the Mr. Butters. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Mr. Butters. Hello, Butters. How you doing, honey? Who's a good boy? Who's the good boy? Yeah, say hi to your fans, Butters. So that is the Mr. Butters. So tonight is a practice session. It's not actually just a painting. We're just going to take certain pieces and I'm going to show you how to do them so you can incorporate them into your paintings. All right. So if there's, hi Penny, if there's anything you want to see, let me know. You want to do whales and dolphins? All right. We're definitely, hi, Joy. She's ready. She's already ready already. Joy is on point. You're probably more ready than I am, Joy. We're definitely going to be doing a sea creatures part 2. There's a lot of things that swim around in the ocean. So just like when we start animals, we're definitely going to have different animals to do too. Somebody did request to see an octopus though, so that is definitely on board. Magna will work on those other things that you just requested of whales and dolphins. And yes, Butter says hi back. So if you're painting with me, say hello, hello, hello. Let me show you my table. That's right. Magna's ready, Teddy, Freddy, Spaghetti, and Joy always comes in ready. She's more bleh. I'll try to figure out how to talk. She's more ready than I am, probably. So this is what I got on my table so far. All right, so we have our water. I have a whole bunch of different brushes going on here. I will, if I grab a certain one, I will tell you what that is. I've got my palette knives. Oh, fam, please remind me. If there's a certain tool you want to see me use, remind me, because I always forget. I always go to my go-to things, and then I forget to show you other things. And there's my palette. My cup of joe is around here somewhere. So we'll get this shindig started. I'm going to put you in the handy-dandy holder. Let me know if you're painting with me, practicing with me tonight. Hello, 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 everybody. It is free to watch. Gratuities are appreciated, and it is kid-friendly, guys. So please just pay attention to that with your comments. All right. Whew, my brain's like in 6,000 directions right now, but that's okay. All right, so let's put you in the handy-dandy holder. And since it's practice, we're not looking at anything just yet. And I am going to pour my paint. Same colors every single time I paint with you guys, and they are white, black, red, yellow, and blue. That is right, Magna. Don't put the brush in my drink. I was living dangerously the other day, and I had them both side by side, so I was going to be like, what the... I was waiting to put my brush in my drink real soon. Real soon. So, the first thing I want to start off with is, I got to write everybody down. Hey, Lynette from Virginia. Hey, Ellen. Absolutely 6,000% just watch. This is practice. So, I just hope that everyone's going to be watching and learning. And if you're practicing along with me, that's great. That is awesome. So I have Magna in the house. Hi, beautiful. I hope you had a great weekend. And Penny is here. Joy is ready. Freddy, Spaghetti. Hello, Joy. And it's so awesome that your name is Joy because you bring me joy when you pop on my lives. So that's amazing. Ellen is here tonight. Hello, Ellen. And Lynette chiming in from Virginia. Oh, yeah. All right. Terry is here. Now Magna wants a scuba diver. Magna, you're going to have to make a list for me, sweetie. Oops, sorry, my hand is in the camera. All right, guys, so let's get some paint on this canvas. All right, so I'm just going to start off with This is what I call Big Boy. He is a 1-inch flat. I use him during the parties. Okay, so I'm just going to swirl, tap, dab him. You want your bristles to be wet but not dripping whenever you start painting with acrylic. All right, so you just do a little swirl in your cup, tap on the side. Hey, Michelle, how you doing, sweetie? So the first thing, I'm sure you can, Magna. I'm doing all right, Ellen. We're doing all good over here. Me and the Butters are chilling. It's cold outside. Boy, is it cold. So the first thing I want to do is let's put some water on here, right? Let's get some underwater going. So I'm going to grab my blue and I'm going to grab my white. Alrighty, and we're going to put that on our canvas. I'm just doing back and forth motions. Let's just get something, a little something that's like water, underwater, right? So the next thing I want to do when I'm putting this on though, you know, obviously if it looks like this, you need to grab more paint. And then if you're getting things that look like this, those are called brush strokes. You just go one end to the other and you can smooth them right out, all right? So I'm just grabbing some blue and white. And I know you have a list for me, Magna. I know you do. You guys got to put if there's anything you'd like to see, put it. I did start the section on the event page. I did start the section of, you know, listing what you'd like to see. So if there's anything in particular, that's why I do know I'm doing Octopus tonight, because somebody did request that. Then I got requests for other things that weren't sea creatures. Some of them we did already, some of them we didn't. So now with this being water, I don't want to turn around and make this one solid color, you know, like, because the more you paint over this, the softer and more blended it becomes. And if you keep doing it, you'll get this to be like one solid color. But being water, it's all right, Magna. It's okay. So let's see all the sea creatures you got going on. All right. Hey, Terry, how you doing, sweetheart? So we got a scuba diver. We have a, I can't say that. Anemone. I can't say that word. Coral, dolphins, whales, octopi, octopuses, I don't know how to say that either. And, yep, sharks and squid and dolphins and all sorts of lovely stuff, right? So many awesome things in our oceans, right? So many awesome things in our oceans. There's just so many amazing different little creatures. And, you know, then we have the mystical creatures we make up, right? So I don't want to go over this a bunch of times because I want those streaks. I want those streaks in the water. And we want those streaks because, you know, light filters through the water. And, you know, it does give that illusion of light filtering through the water. And another thing that you can do, an anemone. There you go, Magna. And an anemone. See, I'm still going to, everybody try to say that word. An anemone. Some sort of crazy little coral fish. That's what it is. All right, so what you want to do is, you know, like you want to get that illusion of light coming through your water. So I would suggest leaving the streak, like leaving it streaky. Don't keep painting over it. So it winds up. Now, obviously, the further down you go, the darker your water is going to get. So you want to start adding blue, more blue than white, when you start moving further and further down into your ocean, because the light is coming from the surface, right? So up top is going to be lighter and down below is going to be darker. So you just want to just move darker and darker. So now all I'm doing is just grabbing blue paint. I didn't necessarily wipe off my brush because I still want some of that white to come in, but I just get darker and darker the further you're going down with your water. Okay, so if you're doing something that's really dark and, you know, really down at the bottom of the ocean, then you could start incorporating some like blacks in there or some reds in there and really get a dark color to pop. Okay, so I'm hitting this point where there's no more white in my brush. So I'm going to turn around, and now I'm getting into really, really dark parts of the ocean. So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to start grabbing some red. Now, if I grab red with my blue, you know what we're going to get, right? You guys know what we're going to get. Come on, tell me. If I grab red and blue together, what are we going to get? Come on, people. You know. You know, all you people out there, all you creepers that are out there. 5 people said hi to me. I see 20 on this feed. You're all little creepers. You know that, right? I love it. I love it. I like it a lot. I hope you're learning and I hope you're practicing with me because that's the whole point. So, purple. Magna's got it. That's right. We're going to get some purple. So, I'm grabbing some blue, some white, and some red. Ellen's on point. We're getting purple. We're going to get purple, right? So, you just turn around. Now, purple, right? And I just grabbed a little bit of white so you guys can see that. See how it's making that purple hue to it? Aloha from Maui. Hey, Cindy. Hi, sweetheart. Look at you, creeping from Hawaii. So, when you add your reds in, you can turn around and get really, really, really dark. Like if you're at the bottom of the ocean, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're at the bottom of the ocean, you can start making this really pretty dark color. And that's because hardly any light's getting down there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by that? All right, so we're going to turn around and fill that in. All right, so now... purple, you got it, Michelle. You got it. You got it. We get purple. That's right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the ocean floor, right? So how about we play with a little palette knife tonight so I don't forget to play with a little bit of palette knife, all right? So we're going to do our ocean floor. I'm going to put Big Boy in my water, right? And I'm going to grab my palette knife. I'm going to grab the one that's shaped like this. Okay, he's very versatile. You know what I did, guys? I was painting over the weekend, and I broke my palette knife. I broke it. Remember the one I had that looked like a little mason trowel? That little tiny, tiny one? I broke it. Who breaks a palette knife? Look at that. I broke the tip right off of it. And you know what? I've had this so long, I don't want to throw it out. I'm like, I could use it for something. I can use it for something. Yeah, but I broke it. I don't know who does that. Who breaks a palette knife? Me. Eve breaks a palette knife. That's who breaks a palette knife. That's what happens. All right, so I want to make brown, right? So I'm going to grab my red. I'm going to grab my yellow. I'm going to grab some black, very little bit of black, and some white. And when you're using a palette knife, you want to switch to a flat palette. Okay, so I'm using a flat palette now. All right, now if I mix all those colors together, oh, I grabbed blue instead of black, but whatever, it'll still work. I'll just throw some black in there from my other palette. Okay, so when you mix all those colors together, right? When you mix all these together, when you mix the yellow, white, and red together, you're going to get a peach. And then if you start grabbing your blue, or you start grabbing your black, now you're going to start getting some browns, right? And you know what's cool though is that using the palette knife, your brother's breaking stuff on you, Magnet. Oh, weld it. All right, Lynette. I'll just take care of that. I'll just go weld it. Yes, palette knives do various things, and but they all basically kind of do the same thing. It's just the shapes. Like when you get the different shapes, it kind of makes it easier. Like this one's very versatile. If you're gonna go in and buy yourself a metal palette knife, if you're gonna go do that, I would recommend this shape because this shape is the most versatile. All right. And this is the shape that Bob Ross uses all the time too, FYI, okay? And then I got one that's this shape because I like that severe point on it. And the one that I broke was like a little diamond shape. And I called it my trowel because it looked like a mason trowel. So I'm not going to overmix this. Again, we like different colors coming through. And I'm just going to put some on my palette knife, right, guys? We're practicing, so grab that knife. Go for it, right? Doesn't matter. This is all practice. And I'm just going to pop in here. I'm just going to go like this very lightly with my hand and just do all these jagged little things. See that? And then I'm going to scrape. All right, so I'm just popping in all these jagged little things and all these colors are coming off of my knife and then I'm just going to scrape. Okay? So you get all this like little weird stuff going on. And then you can just scrape. All right, so I'm going to grab, and now you get to play. You can have just one. You can have 20 if you want to, Michelle. It doesn't matter, but just one palette knife is fine. All right, because then you just keep wiping it off. So now I'm going to grab some, let's grab some blue and red, right? So I'm going to grab blue and red on that palette knife with the brown. And honestly, I'm not doing it. Look, I just got a glob of paint on there. I'm not cutting a roll. I'm not doing anything special. I just putting globs of paint on there, and I'm not over mixing it. So I have all that separation of color. And then when you put it on here, you're just going to make all these different shapes. See that? Just all these different shapes. And then when I scrape it, all these cool colors are going to come out. All these cool colors are going to come out. And you can have all these cool colors because we're down at the bottom of the ocean, you know what I'm saying? So like, who knows what goes on out there? But as you scrape it down, which is a lighter touch, as you scrape it down, you're going to get all these cool colors coming out. And it's like, well, how did I do that? You didn't do it, the knife did it. But then you look like this amazing artist. Look, that kind of looks like red, white, and blue. You look like this amazing artist that did all this amazing stuff. And all you did was scrape a palette knife down. It's really not that hard. And then what you want to do, now once you have this base on, you can go around it and play with it and do different shadows and different things going on. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we're supposed to be doing the creatures, not the ocean floor. I can do a whole class on ocean floor. So what I'm going to do for the bottom of this is I'm just going to grab a big fluffy brush, right? Yeah, let's grab the fan brush. Why not? So I got a new fan brush, people. It's very stiff and it has very coarse hairs, and it is a number 8 fan. It's an artist loft. So I'm just going to pull down. All right, it's kind of like the same and I'm just going to go back and forth. This brush is dry. I didn't do anything. And I'm just going to lightly pull down on that, what I did with my knife. And then that's going to soften it all out. That's going to soften it all out. So that'll actually give you like a base to play and put all your coral and everything else. And now I'm just grabbing those colors on my palette just to kind of fill this in a bit. All right, so just like that, you guys can make a really cool, like, this could be, you know, that's kind of how you do mountains too, like on land, and or like say you're doing like a planet, like Mars or something, and you want like space mountains, that works for that. Now I'm just filling in the rest, that's all I'm doing. But you have this nice soft ocean floor. It has all these cool, amazing colors in it. You didn't have to work very hard. And you practiced with your palette knife, all right? So that's going to go in the water. Alrighty. And the first sea creature, first sea creature I want to show you. And then when you're done with your knife, you just wipe it off on the paper towel. That's all you do. And then you can dip it in your water and then wipe it again, and all the paint will come off of it. So the next thing I want to do is let's do the octopus. All right, and I was smart, guys. I turned around and put my computer on so I can Google image these things, so I know what you guys are talking about if you ask for something in particular. Remember when you hit me with the birds and I didn't know what bird was what? I was like bird brain. So there is no shame in looking at reference when you're painting. No shame in it at all. And when you actually get, you know, and you can turn around and practice. You don't get into anything being weird until, you know, you start trying to sell stuff. Then you can't use other people's images. You know what I mean? Like, but you can definitely use things as a reference. As long as your art is different than what you're referencing. Which sounds a little weird because you're like, well, if I'm referencing it, why would I want it to be different? Hey, Julia, that's all good. Right, Cindy? You have to look at references. That's what you have to do until you start getting that mind's eye. until you start getting that mind's eye of how to, you know, until you can start picturing things in your head. And that seems to be, you know, that's, you know, have an imagination, but that seems to be something that's hard for some people. And it's getting harder and harder, especially with the amount of technology there is. So, that's all right, Julia. Ketchup, mustard. And Magna, I'm going to skip on the coral for right now. I want to do sea creatures. And then if we have time to play with the ocean floor, we'll play with the ocean floor. Okay, hon? Right, Cindy? So you have to look at references. You know, so, and looking at the references really, really helps you turn around and get things to be realistic. All right, so we're going to do cutesy and we're going to do realistic. All right. So, first thing I want to do is an octopus. Right, so we're going to turn around and we'll do cutesy first, and then I'll show you how to make it realistic. So I am going to grab, what is this? I can't even see what this is. This is old, that's what this is. This is an old brush. It's definitely a flat. I would have to say it's probably a 1/2 inch flat. That's what this is. Okay, and I'm going to grab my white paint, right? Because what do we do when we do our shapes? Right, again, sea creatures, what you have to remember is you're breaking it down into shapes. Everything gets broken down into shapes to keep it simple for yourself. And then that'll help you, hi everybody, hi. That'll help you be able to do your shadowing and everything else. So an octopus, right? What shape is he? Well, he's kind of like a teardrop, right? It's all right, Magna. You can practice coral. Go for it. All right. So he is kind of like a teardrop, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to put a teardrop in. I'm going to put a teardrop in. Okay, and it's on its side. And I grabbed some dirty white. This, I don't know what color was in there. I think red was in my white. And oh, a little bit of black. A little bit of black was in my white. And some red. A little bit of red was in my white, but that's okay. That's right, we're mapping, Magna, we're mapping, right? So you can turn around and do your little teardrop. And I did it on the side. I didn't do it straight up and down. You know, like if you want it to look more realistic, you do it from the side. So we're going to do the cutesy one first, okay? So you do a teardrop, and then you just take your flat brush and 8, right? That's what I call it, an octopus. So you just pull out from that teardrop. 1, right? 2, need more paint on my brush, or you need paint to paint, Kristen. Eve, 2, right, 3, 4, alrighty, 5, 6, okay, so I'm not doing anything in particular. So this is the cutesy one, alright, 6, and then 7, 8. So 7, 8 I put coming out of the back. So I'm going to follow along this line, and I'm going to put, but these are going to be shorter because they're actually behind him. So I follow along that line, and then I follow along this line, 7, 8, and then I go back in, and I smooth that out because those tentacles are coming out from behind him. All right, and that's it, guys. That is how you do an octopus shape. And honestly, you can turn around and do this all cutesy, whatever you want to do. You know, you can put the big eyes in it and do whatever you want to do to it. And, you know, you play with your tentacles a bit. So then you start adding color to your mapping, right? So then, and that's when you really get your tentacles to pop from where they're coming from. So I'm going to do his head in a color. Swoop, right around. Fill that in. All right. And if you noticed, I did the dark outline, and I did that just by grabbing my red paint with my white paint still dark. I did the outline, swoop, like that, and then I just pushed the color into the middle, and automatically you got the darker edge without even trying. Without even trying. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my tentacles. So I'm putting red paint, see, just on the tip of my brush. And since my white is still wet, I can go along the edge of my tentacle with the color and then just do a little bit of a blend without grabbing any more paint, and then automatically you get the separation of colors. You get the lighter and you get the darker without even trying. So if you do this while your paint is still wet, you don't have to try very hard to get the lighter and darker going on your tentacles. Okay, so you just fill these in. If you do it and it's dry, then you got to grab the white and the red, and you got to do all your, I've taught you guys how to shade, I don't know how many times. So if you grab it while it's still wet, you just put that line on the edge, and then you take your brush and run it through the wet white, and it's automatically going to make, thank you, Michelle, it's automatically going to make shading for you. Okay, automatically. Like, I didn't do it, see that? Look at my octopus head. All right, let's close up. Hello, hello, close up. See, I didn't do, did you see me paint any, excuse me, did you see me paint any shading? No. All I did was go around the outline and then blended it into the center. That was it. Not hard at all, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I do the outline like that, right? You want to wipe off that excess paint, and then as long as your white is dry, white is wet, you just go along and you could do the blending, and see, so my white's getting a little bit dry right now, so I'm going to grab some white paint. I'm going to put my mapping back in, and then I'm going to grab my red paint, and I'm going to turn around and go on the edge, right? I'm on the edge, living on the edge. Wipe off your excess paint off of your brush, and then just pull your brush along, and you get the edge shadow, and you don't have to hurt yourself with trying to blend these tentacles. Okay, and then where they connect into his head, I'm just going to pull up, just like that. All right, so now we're getting more into a realistic octopus. Now we're getting into more of a realistic octopus, right? So if your white dries, put your white back on. Put your white back on. All right, so I'm still working with a dirty brush. I didn't clean it or nothing. I'm just wiping the globs off of it. Because if you have globs on your brush, you're going to get globs on your painting. So you want to always make sure, if you learn one thing tonight, look at your brush before you paint with it. Like, seriously, look at your brush before you paint with it. Because you want to make sure your edges are the way you want. You want to make sure you didn't grab any colors by accident that you don't want. Oh, very cool, Michelle. Very awesome, right? So look at your brush before you paint with it, because you want to make sure you don't have things going on that are going to mess you up. All right, now I'm going to do my outline, wipe my brush off, and then go back in and just smooth over it, and it's automatically going to do the light and the dark for you. Okay, and then you just kind of push that up into his head. That's it. So, very cool. So it looks like a spider with the colors you chose. Yeah, so, but spiders I make very angular. Spiders I make very angular. When I do spider legs. Oh, I guess we could do an insect how-to. Would you guys want to do insects, like bugs and stuff? You want to do an insect how-to? All right, so then we need the two legs in the back, right? So I'm going to just grab my white again, because that dried already. That already dried. So I'm going to put my white. No globs allowed. That's right, Michelle. Because if you have globs on your brush, you're going to get globs on your painting. All right. Yes, you want to see bugs? All right, Julie, I'll put it on the list. Okay, so again, same thing. Outline. Outline with the color. Wipe my brush off. Smooth over it. Bam, just like that. You have your highlights and your darks without even trying. All right, guys? And then that is supposed to be coming out of the back. So I'm going to put that dark red back in his head right here to cut that into the back. See? So just by putting that line over the tentacle, you automatically have it in the back. automatically have it in the back. Okay? And then we're going bees, butterflies, ants. Yes, there's a ton of them. Meg will probably have a list of insects too, right? So, and I'm really just taking my dirty brush and I'm just softening and pulling colors through this. That's all I'm doing. Like I have some paint left on my brush, so I'm just pulling it through to add more definition. All right, so last one. Last one. And cats. Yes, Cheryl. Cats is on my list. Cheryl, I want to tell you, I had water droplets on my list for you and glass, but there is a paint party business out there that did water droplets, so it's probably going to be a while until I do them because I don't want to seem like I'm piggybacking, and I just saw all over the social media another business decided to show water droplets, so, you know, I'm going to just have to wait a minute because I don't want to feel like I'm piggybacking, even though we discussed this eons ago. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that heads up, Cheryl. We will do it, though. I'm not, I didn't forget. Yes, and cats is definitely on my list. Big cats. Yep, because we're going to have a couple of how-to animal series because there's lots of animals, too. We're going to have a couple of underwater, too. Magna just gave us a list. And we're going to have a couple of birds. So there's going to be how-to part 2s all over the place. Hey, Cheryl, how you doing, sweetheart? All right, so I'm going to write insects on my how-to list. I have lists out the wazoo, guys. I have lists out the wazoo because you know me and remembering stuff. All right, Cheryl. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So, yeah, I noticed that. So, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, step on any toes. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So, with the white paint that was left over on my brush, yeah, gnomes are big now, too. I did gnomes at Christmas, and I have a gnome painting in my base. So, I had just the white paint a little bit on my brush left over from doing the tentacle. So, now I'm just kind of adding I'm just smushing. And I'm kind of adding this, like, texture. But very little paint on my brush. Like, hardly any at all. Hardly any at all. And I'm just smushing and doing little zigzags and adding some texture to my octopus. Right. So, now we're going to get in. I'm putting my brush in the water. Hi, Dawn. You're creeping again. Hey, Kim. How you doing, sweetheart? Dawn's our resident creeper. All right, Kim, sounds good. That sounds amazing. All right, and the next thing I want to tell you is that the difference between cutesy, the difference between cutesy and realistic is all in the details. All right, so now, you know, this still can fall under a cutesy octopus, right? You just put the 2 big eyes in, you put a little silly mouth, and you know you're good to go. But when you want to start getting into realistic is when you start putting all the little details in there. Okay, so for the details, I'm going to grab, I just dropped like 3 brushes at once. I'm going to grab, this is, I don't know, it says a number 8 on it. It's a round brush. It really didn't give me any much information other than that. So, I think this might be a little too big though. Yep, it's going to be too big. So, I want to grab a smaller round. So, the lower the number, the smaller the brush. So, let's grab, and this one's covered in paint, so I can't see what number it is. I'm going to guess that this is like a number 5. I'm not really sure. So, I'm going to swirl, tap, dab that. And then when you want to get into realistic, now you're looking at the different details of an octopus. And the one thing is they have a big bulbous head, right? Which is what we showed cutesy style. And you want to turn that into more realistic. You got to put a hump on it. So I'm going to grab that white paint. And I'm going to grab that little bit of red. And I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to make this more into like one of those flattened humps. So I'm going to go around my circle. And I'm going to pull out. And I'm going to come back in. Because they have like one of those little flattened hump things going on. Okay, so And making this very odd looking is going to make it look more realistic. All right, so this is the back of his head. And it does a very weird, like, very strange hump. So I'm just painting that in, and then I'm just smushing to blend it. Okay, so they have a very weird, you know, because it kind of flops all over the place. It really does kind of flop all over the place. So you want to make it just a very odd shape. So you can start off with that teardrop, but then you can make it really weird looking. Doesn't have to be anything special. Okay, so now you've got it more of a realistic and less cutesy, because it's just weird looking. It's weird looking. And they also have these connectors in between their tentacles. So I'm going to grab my red and I'm going to grab my little bit of white. Okay, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to put the connectors in. So, and they go like this. They just go swoop, just like that. And you add that in. Okay, so it goes swoop, just like that. And you want to keep those kind of dark, okay? And then it's like flowers that petal, you got to pick a winner. So that's the swoop over to this one. And then I'm going to make this one pop out in front of it by adding a highlight to it. All right, so, but all I did was a little swoop-de-doop. And then like flowers of petal, I got to pick a winner. So that's what I did. All right, and then there's one here. So instead of doing the swoop, I'm just going to turn around and have this connect like here. So it's a little bit of a swoop, but not really. So it's a little bit of a swoop, but you just put that little connector in there. Okay, pull your colors back through again. And then over here, we're going to do this little swoop. Okay, so from here to here, it's going to have a connector, swoop, just like that. Fill that in. Okay, and then I'm just pushing the paint around. That's all I'm really doing. I can go back in and fix what I have and not have. All right, so you're going to put these little connectors in. That's all you're going to do. So here to here, it's going to have a swoop, swoop. See, just like that. And you just push the paint around. That's all. That's all you need to do. Okay, and we're going to see the connector over here. So I'm going to do a little swoop like that. All right, and I'm just going to push this paint around. Push this paint around. And I want this tentacle to be in front. So I'm going to grab my little bit of white. And I'm going to put my white in. And this way, this tentacle's in front of the other one. And you have that swoop. And I'm just pushing paint around. I'm not doing anything really in particular. Okay, guys? And then you're going to see the swoop on this back one. You're going to see the swoop on that back one. So you just do that little swoop. Swoop. Just like that. See that? Just that little piece. Just that little tiny piece. And all of a sudden, your octopus is looking more like a real octopus and not all cutesy. Okay? And then I'm going to grab my dark paint and I'm going to go in here. So, you know, obviously, you know, with the octopus, you want it to have, you know, go darker as you get to the edges. So now I just grab my red paint and I'm re-putting in my head to put that tentacle in the background. All right, and the head's obviously a very weird shape. And now you want to like deepen your shadows. So I'm actually going to grab a little bit of blue, right? We're going into that blue. You don't necessarily have to grab black to make something darker. You can grab other colors to make it darker. And I'm going to go into that red. Okay, so now I have this dark, very dark reddish color, reddish purple. Okay, and then you just want to go in and deepen your shadows. So obviously those little swoops are going to have shadows. And I'm using a very light touch, and I'm just kind of smushing back and forth. Okay, so over here, that's going to be a shadow, because that's like really tucked in there between his tentacles. And I'm just smushing back and forth. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything in particular. I'm not doing anything really that special. And here's going to be a shadow. Okay, on that little bit of swoop. All right, and then in here is going to be a shadow. Then in here is going to be a shadow. You got it, right in between all the little legs. There's a shadow. Okay, and then over here on the back of his head, he's going to have a shadow. Okay, and then you just lighten your touch as you work your way into the center part. Just lighten your touch. So you do your shadow line with the paint, and then you just smoosh back and forth. And you lighten your touch as you move it towards the center of your object. Now you want to use a very little amount of paint, because if you have too much paint on here, you're going to wind up like covering it all with dark. I do that a lot. Like I wind up losing my light because I'm covering it with dark. And then you can turn around and I just grab white paint real quick. And I'm just going to put some white paint like right there. And I'm just zigzag zooming. That's all I'm doing. All right. So obviously, octopus have the little suction cups on them. I am not going to paint all the suction cups on this octopus. I just wanted to give you a general feel of changing it from cutesy to lifelike. All right, so I wanted to give you the general feel, and I'm going to grab some more white paint, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to throw in a highlight right on the front of his head, right? Like he's swimming up that way. So this is the front of his head. So I just wanted to give you a general feel on how to do the shape. Okay, and then his eyes have his eyes turn around and they kind of like bulge out, right? So you want like these bulging out eyes like that. Okay, and then, you know, you look at the eyes and fix your details so they like kind of bulge out from the head. And I just grabbed white paint. That's all I did. That's all I did, and I'm smushing it all around. So octopus's eyes bulge out, so you want to add those, and they're very dark and round and mysterious. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of blue paint. So anyway, that's what you want to play with. You got the shape in. If you add the eyeballs, you have to turn around and play around with that. You know, just reference an octopus eye, and you're going to look at the shape of it. You're going to throw it in. You're going to take care of all those things. So Megna says, ooh, wow, that looks so good. How? Every time I skip something, you make it the best out of it. And you messed up the octopus, and you covered it up. That's okay, Megna. That's why this is practice, sweetheart. It's all good. It is all good. So you put his eyes in there, and then you're going to turn around and just grab some black. Right? I'm not really going into, like, major detail. See how I blend? I blend with my finger. So, because you could spend like an hour just doing his eyes. So you just want to put like a little like highlight around there. And then I'm just going to blend it into the rest of his face. Grabbing my like red paint again. And I'm just going to smush this all in. Just going to smush that all in. So I started with the white. I did like the 2 pops. I put the black for his eyeballs, and now I'm just smushing in and blending it into his head by just basically zigzag zooming red and white together. Very small amounts of paint. Look how much paint I'm using, guys. Right? Octopus eyes are really eerie. Okay, and of course they have all these little suction cups. So the suction cups, honestly, you put just dots. I'm just doing dots of my dark color for the ones that are far away. Okay, that's all I'm doing is dots. And then if you want to get really detailed with a suction cup, I'll do one up here. I'm not going to do all the suction cups. There you go, Megna. There's a cute emoji. So you have, it's little circles, right? So little circles, same concept. You do a little white like that, and then you could do, so You do these little white circles, and they're not perfect, and then I go down to the dots. And then once you have the little white circles, you can add that dark red into the inside of them. Okay, and then down to the dots. All right, so that's how you would do his suction cups. And then you could just kind of dab and play. You can dab and play, so because you have those circular shapes in there, so obviously that's going to give a nod to his suction cups. And then as you're playing, you know, just put some little wisps, I don't know. I don't know what word I'm trying to say. Swoops, little swoops of like circular shapes in there. All right. And then as you move into his tentacle more, you want to just do dabs and dots into his tentacle more of the darker color. All right, guys. So I am going to let you look at that and finish your practice with your octopus. I hope everyone's having fun with that one. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much. So that is how you change a cutesy octopus shape into a more realistic octopus shape. Now, I know the eye section, it'll take like a long time to show you that. So I don't want to get stuck on his eyeballs. So that's the gist of it. And then you can go in and add more and more detail to it. And honestly, if you skip the eyes, people are still going to know it's an octopus. They're still going to know it's an octopus. Awesome, Dawn. Awesome. Michelle, Mimi, thank you so much, right? So you guys can totally do that. You can totally do that. I'm leaving it on the camera for a minute so you guys can finish your practice if you're practicing along with me. So I hope you guys played around with that and it came out really cool. Magna had me start putting on the event page for the practice sessions a place to share your work. So, and when you look up octopus images, you have like so many cool images. And we're going to do roll call while you guys... Hi, Lisa. Yes, I heard about your giant painting. Hello, love. Hello, sweetheart. How you doing? It's roll call time, Lisa. I love it, Shannon. You didn't skip the eyes, you're just on the other side. I love it. I like it a lot. You're my kind of girl, Shannon. That is awesome. So we got Mimi in the house. Megna is here. Penny and Joy and Ellen and Lynette from Virginia. Tari is here. Cindy, Julia, Cheryl. Hello, Cheryl. And Dawn and Kim and Shannon's on deck. So Shannon's in South Florida. An 18 by 24. Oh, Lisa's living dangerously. Lisa's doing a big painting. I have 48 by 36s. You want to do one of those, Lisa? Christy's in California. Christy was being a little creeper. Hi, Christy. How you doing, love? How you doing, sweetie? California in the house. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so the next one I want to show you was, obviously, you guys want to do the jellyfish? I know jellyfish are like huge. Jellyfish are like huge in paint party stuff, right? You guys want to see jellyfish, or are you good with jellyfish? You kind of have jellyfish down. Jellyfish are really cool to do. So I'm just Googling jellyfish right now. That's all I'm doing to get some images up. So when you go on Google, guys, when you go on Google, you know, when you do a search, there's a tab. You got to work your way up. All right, Lisa. There's actually a tab that you hit. Like when you do your search and you get all the words, there's a tab. All right, Cheryl. I'm doing a seahorse tonight. I'm definitely doing a seahorse, and then we'll see how much more we get into, okay? Jellyfish, you're all cool with that? All right. So when you do Google, there's actually a tab on the top of your screen that says images. And if you click that tab, you'll get a whole screen full of images. I don't know if all of you know about that. So it's kind of cool. All right, you guys got it. One jellyfish coming up. Let me move you over to a clean spot. All right, so who can tell me what the shape of a jellyfish is? I'm just roll tap dabbing my brush. Who can tell me what the shape of a jellyfish is? Jellyfish are so cool. I have a few jellyfish paintings that I've done. Some are more gallery work, some are more cutesy. You think so, Magna? Oval, yes, Cheryl, you're on base with that. It is oval. It is an oval. Okay. So we're gonna do a semicircle. Semicircle, yeah. So we're gonna do a semicircle. All right. So how about I do a light blue one? Open umbrella. Yes, Christy, good idea. Shannon, you didn't know about the images tab? Magna's our little tech. She's our 10-year-old techie girl. Her parents actually help me with stuff. So, yeah. So if you turn around, here, I'll grab my laptop and show you, Shannon. I'll grab my laptop and show you where the button is. So when you Google, can you guys see this? All right. So when you Google, I know it's backwards in the wording, so you put your search here, and then you have, see where it says all? That says all right there. Right next to it, it says images. And that's what you click. That's what you click. And then you can get all these beautiful images of stuff you're trying to paint. The first time my kids ever seen a jellyfish, they said they looked like a floating Big Mac looking down at from a pier. That's so cute. That is awesome. All right, so I'm going to swirl tap dab that little round brush I was using. A little round brush. And I'm going to do a light blue one. Okay? So I'm going to grab my blue. And I'm going to grab my white. And just like you all guys said, an open umbrella, an oval, a semicircle. That's what you want to start off with. Okay? So just like this. Ready? There you go. There you go. There's your circle. Just think of a parentheses. That's all. And you just want it, the quicker you go, the better your shape's going to be. If you overthink it, if you try to do it really slow, you just want to get the general shape on there. And when you get the general shape on there, then you could fix it. Then you could fix it as you fill it in. So don't try to make your shapes perfect when you first draw them on. Because you can fix it as you fill it in. Okay? And I'm just grabbing blue and white again. And when you fill in your shapes, you want to go in the direction of your shape. Okay? So you want to go in the direction of your shapes with your brush strokes. It makes it more realistic. And jellyfish are kind of translucent. So translucent meaning like you can see through them, right? So as you notice, again, I'm doing the white here with the color, and then I'm just smushing it around as I work towards the middle. So this way it gets lighter and lighter towards the center. And now you made it look see-through without even trying to make it see-through. Hey, Nancy. That's all right, Megna. It's okay. You're just very, very smart. So, now you have it looking see-through without even trying. And I'm going to grab just some white paint. Very small amounts of paint, guys. And I'm going to grab my white paint. And I'm going to put the white paint on the edge. Living on the edge, people. Living on the edge. And I'm just pushing that around because I didn't grab that much at all. Okay? And again, we're just smushing it. So, small amount of paint. Small amount of paint. If you notice, I'm just pushing that around. And you build it up, alright? So now I'm going to grab a little bit more of white paint. And I'm going to push that around. Okay, so you build it up. You start off with your shape. That's basically, you know, the colors you want. And it's all about working the edge. And you just grab more and more of small amounts of paint. And you just kind of zigzag and zoom it in. You just zigzag and zoom it in. See, guys? All I'm doing is little zigzags. That's all I'm doing. And I'm grabbing very small amounts of paint. See how much paint I'm grabbing? Hardly any at all. Alright? And then you want to come in and you want to start putting little things into your shape. Right? Maybe little spots where it hit. Where the light's hitting it. And I'm just zigzag and zooming. That's all I'm doing. Just zigzag and zooming. That's it. Back and forth with my brush. Back and forth with my brush. Smashing that paint around. Softening it out. Small amounts of paint. You're building. You're building it up. Hi, Nancy. How you doing, sweetie? How you doing? Yeah, so our young stuff is very technologically involved, and I'm not. So I get it, guys. I get it. All right, small amount of white paint. I'm gonna go right back to where I was. I'm gonna start on my edge. I'm doing that zigzag with my brush, and I'm just zigzagging it into my shape. And then I'm gonna start on this edge, right here, and I'm gonna zigzag it into my shape. See that? All you're doing. And then you could soften it out. You just soften it out. Little smushes, little dabs, little tiny movements. Nothing major going on here. Nothing major. I'm just pushing paint around. So now you have this translucent looking orb. Okay? That's how you have it. And then we can add darks to the other side. So I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm not necessarily going to clean it. I'm just going to wipe it off. And guess what color I'm going to grab to make my darks if I'm painting in blue? What color am I going to grab, people? You tell me. You guys know. If I'm working with blue, what color am I going to grab to make my darks? You know what color I'm going to grab. Come on, guys. Darker blue, yes, you can grab darker blue. That would work. That would totally work. But I want to go really, really dark. More blue, okay, all right. I'll give you a hint. Let's see what. Purple, well, it'll make the purple. Black, all right. Gray, purple, all right. And Shannon says gray. Pearl says black. Cheryl said darker blue. Okay, so those are all really great ideas. And the one you guys that said the blue and the purple, ding, 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 Dawn's got it. Woo! Julia's got it. Lynette's got it. Good job, guys. Right. So those of you that said blue and purple, you were on the right track. Because once I grab the red, it's going to make a purple. Blacks, yep. So black, you can always grab black to make things darker. So I'm going to grab that red paint. And I'm going to grab the blue paint. So those of you who said purple, you're definitely on track. And those of you who said red, you're on track. The black, everyone that said black, yes, that is, obviously that's what a lot of people like to grab to go darker. And if you want a really drastic shadow, you would grab the black. But since this is translucent and blending, you don't want to turn around and go black yet. You can later to make it really drastic. So on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. And I have that red on my brush now with the blue on my brush. So those of you that said purple, you were right with that too, because red and blue make purple. And I'm going to start on that edge. And again, I am just going to smush it around. I'm just going to smush it around. See me? I'm smushing it around. And I started with very little paint on my brush. Very little paint. And small amount. And don't worry about that edge. First of all, jellyfish don't have very strict edges to them. So I'm just smushing this around. That's it. And then you want to turn around and just soften it out. So there's like no paint left on my brush right now, and I'm just softening that out. All right, and then I'm going to grab my red. I'm grabbing just red paint, and right on that edge I softened, I'm going to put the red paint in there. Right on that edge I softened, I'm going to put the red paint on there. Just red. Just red now. That's all I grabbed. And I'm going to smush that back and forth. I'm going to smush that back and forth. Okay? And if you guys ever do moons, like if you're doing the moon, this is the same way you do the moon. Same way. Small amounts of paint and you build on top of it. So I'm grabbing red again. And now I'm going to start working in and putting these smushes in. Like I did the white before. And since I have a blue background, this is going to do a purplish hue without even trying. And I'm just, so by the time you get to the center, you should have no paint left on your brush. And you're just smushing and softening. That's all you're doing. So those of you that do moons, you can do it the same way. All right, so because doesn't that look kind of like a planet too? So you can do it the same way. And if you want it really, really drastic, then, like Cheryl said, I'm going to grab just blue now. Just blue. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to add little dabs. See that? Small little dabs. Tiny, 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 small little dabs. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush. No paint on the brush. And then you just smush those around. Here, there, not everywhere. Here, there, not everywhere. Okay? And then, what you want to do is you're going to grab a little bit of white with some blue. So see how much paint I have? Not a lot. And I'm going to go onto that edge, and I'm going to just put that little white highlight line on there. Just a little small thin line. And smush that around. Okay? So, that's how you could do the top. There's all different ways to do the top of a jellyfish. That's one way. Okay, so now let's get to the bottom. Let's get to the good stuff, right? So I'm going to turn around on my bottom. And I have to arch in a line on my bottom. So, I'm going to turn around and grab that white paint. Very little amount of white paint. And I'm going to come in here and see how I'm doing this with my hand, right? Just like this. Like you're turning a screw or something. Right? That's what you want to do with your hands. So you start at your tip here and you just turn your hand. Just turn your hand. Just like that. Okay, and then you connect your edges, smushing that around. You soften that line out. Again, just zigzag a zooming. That's all I'm doing. You just connect those edges. Okay? So then, now you have where the bottom of your jellyfish is going to be. And now I'm going to grab some white and blue. And I'm going to soften that edge a little bit more with the white and blue. And I'm just zigzagging, that's all I'm doing. So now I'm grabbing the white and blue, and I'm going to soften that edge out. Alright, because everything with jellyfish is kind of soft. I don't know, I like to keep them soft. Okay guys, so you practice that a minute. Pushing your paint around and whatnot, whatever you're doing. I'm going to grab my seltzer, because my mouth is dry. My mouth is dry. So all of you had amazing answers. Now, if you wanted to go back in, like Michelle said, black, you could turn around and do like the little black dabs over here and make it really, really drastic if you wanted to. You can make it really, really drastic if you wanted to. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is you can see the circular part on the other side of the jellyfish, right? So I'm going to grab that round brush again, and I'm going to grab my white paint. I'm going to grab some white and blue together, right? Basically, it's already dirty on my palette, so I'm going to grab it together. So I'm going to grab that white and blue together. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to finish this circle off. Now, the faster you move, the more precise your shape's going to be. Like if you try to overthink this and put it in, if you're not a very good person for drawing, you might not be able to get it right. And again, just put your guideline in and you could always finish it later. But I'm just going to swoop like that, right? I'm going to grab this over here and I'm going to swoop. Swoop. Right across. See that? That's it. And then I want to soften this out. I want to soften this out. Because this is in the background. So I didn't grab any more paint. I'm just zigzag and zooming with my hand. See that? Zigzag zoom. Zigzag zoom. That's what we call that. Right, Magna? That's what we call that. Zigzag zoom. And then you want to put your shadow in here. Alright, so I'm going to grab that red. And I'm going to grab that blue. And we're going to come in here. And we're going to put the little shadow in here. On the back end. Now, wipe the excess paint off your brush. Smush that around. Don't lose that line right there. Keep that line right where it is. Okay, so don't lose that line. You're smushing under that line. And this is all small amounts of paint building on each other. That's all you're doing. Okay, and then we have to, hi Amanda, and then we have to do it on this side, okay? So now I'm going to grab the white, small amounts of paint, and I'm going to do the white on this side. So don't, you go above this line, you don't want to lose that line, you don't want to lose this line. Okay guys, so just remember that. So I'm going to do the white, I'm going to wipe off my brush, because I have a little bit too much paint on it, and I'm going to smush the white around. We're going to smush the white around that, just like that. All right. So, guys, have fun with this. Play around with this. If you happen to lose this line, see how I'm almost losing that line? I'm just going to grab some blue paint. And I'm going to put that line back in for myself. So now I'm just doing some blue paint on there. I just grabbed a little bit of blue paint so I don't lose that line. Because I almost started losing it. And I don't want to lose it. So I'll put the blue paint back in here. Under that ridge. And soften that around. Okay guys? So, there is your helmet to your jellyfish. And it should look absolutely awesome. If it doesn't, that's fine. Because we're practicing. Okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab... Let's have some fun, right? So let's have some fun. I'm going to grab a small fan brush. See how small? So this fan brush is a 10/0. It's from Artist Loft, and it's called the Vienna. Now, when you pick a fan brush, you want to make sure it has a nice ray. See that? Swoop. See that ray of bristles? And you want to make sure that it's, you know, for this, you want to make sure it's stiff. So this is a very small fan brush. I'll show you compared to my hand. See, so there's my hand, there's the brush. See how small that is? But you want to make, and they're short bristles. See that? They're very short. So I'm going to grab this fan brush. And I'm going to turn around and I'm going to put some white paint on there. Right? So you just dab it onto your edges. Right? So fun, Magna. So you just dab it onto your edges, right? And then I'm going to grab some, let's grab some yellow. Okay, so I'm going to grab some yellow paint with that. I'm going to smash it onto the edges. And then I'm going to like wipe it off. I'm going to wipe it off on my paper towel. So there's very small amount of paint on here, very small. And I'm going to go up in here with a very, very light touch. And I'm just going to pull. And I'm going to pull with like a little squiggle. So I'm going to come up in here and I'm going to start, let's say like right here, and I'm going to just pull with a little squiggle. See that? And you're going to get all those fun things coming out. Just going to pull with a little squiggle. That's it. And that is going to give me my basis for putting the longer tentacles in. Okay, so very little paint. And then I'm going to turn my brush this way. And I'm going to smash some lines in here. I'm just smashing some lines in. That's all I'm doing. Alright, so I'm going to grab some more of that paint. Very small amount of paint. And I'll turn my brush this way. And I'm really going to put some darker lines in here. Okay? So, and I'm not using a lot of paint at all. I'm not using a lot of paint at all. And you can turn around and zigzag with this a little bit, soften it out. So that gives you a basis. Now you have something to put your squiggles on. Now you have something to put your squiggles on. And the squiggles are a lot of fun. Okay? And they come out from like the center. If you're going realistic, they come out from the edges and they come out from the center. Okay? So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to grab my white paint. And I'll put that on my fan brush. Now, you can use a flat brush for this. You can use a round brush for this. Doesn't really matter. I just want to show you different tools. So, I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to white paint only, and I'm going to go for my center. I'm holding my brush back here. Nice light touches. And I'm just going to put these in. Ready? Shoop. Just like that. Okay? And do it again. Just doing a little wiggle. Just doing a little wiggle with my brush. Just doing a little wiggle. Right? And you want it flowing, so you come out that way. If this flowing, so it'll come out that way. Maybe he has one like all the way over here, flowing outwards. Right? He's about to sting somebody. Okay, so you can do one going out this way. Right? It's your jellyfish. Have fun with it. So I'm just wiggling my... Those of you that have a shake in your hand, this is perfect for you. Because if your hand's already shaky, it's perfect for you. So I'm just grabbing white paint. That's all I'm doing. Okay? That's all I'm doing. Alright. So I'm going to wipe off my brush. And I'm going to turn around and they actually have pieces coming off of their edges. So I'm going to grab just blue. I'm going to grab just blue. And I'm going to do the pieces off the edges. Okay, so I'm going to go to my edges that I made. And I'm going to line up my brush. And I'm going to do these pieces off of the edges. Just the blue. See, small amount of paint, nice and thin on your brush. You don't have to use a fan brush. You can use a flat brush if you want to. You can use a round brush if you want to. And everything's kind of squiggly. So I'm going to do the ones that are on the jellyfish edges. Okay, so I'm going to come out like that. Okay, and then you just build from there. Then you just build from there, and you can have fun with your colors, and you can go ahead and add as many colors as you want. So I'm going to grab some white. I'm going to grab some white, some blue, some red. Right? And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to put squiggles in here of purple. And all I'm doing is wiggling my brush. That's all I'm doing. So I'm going to do some purples. And then once that dries, we can go in and pop it with some brighter colors. Alright, so now you have the basis of a jellyfish, and you can play with your tentacles all you want. If you remind me, that we're waiting for that to dry, I'll go in and show you with the pop of brighter colors. Okay, so now you have to let it dry. Because if you don't let it dry and you keep painting these on here, you're going to wind up with a big mushy mess. And you don't want a big mushy mess. All right, guys? So there is your jellyfish. I hope that's all working out for you. So, I just want to scroll through to see if I missed any of you guys, right? So cool, right, Dawn? So cool. So Amanda's in the house. Got to add Amanda. Amanda is here. Amanda is here. And Lynette is here. Hey, Lynette. Lynette is here. And let's see, who else is here? Well, we got Julia already, and Dawn is here. I think I have Dawn on my list already. Nope. Yep, Dawn the Creeper. We got Dawn the Creeper in here. And Ann is here. Hi, Ann. And because a bunch of you were answering my question, and I didn't have you on my list for roll call. Pearl was here. Oh, see, now I know how to get all the creepers out. I just asked you guys a question. I just ask you guys a question and I'll get a guy. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Amanda. I'll get all of you guys answering me. Okay, so practice with that one. Hi. Welcome to the family, guys. Welcome to the family. All right, so once that dries a little bit, right? Once you have this dry, okay, pretty much dry, then you can go in and add your pops of bright color. So instead of me remembering, let's just, and I'm going to grab a fancy brush to show you. This is called a liner brush. These are really, really cool. See that? Those are really cool. This is, information is pretty much off of it, but it is called a script or a liner. I showed you this when I did the trees video. This is really cool for making squiggles. Really cool for making squiggly lines. Okay? Awesome, Amanda. Enjoy your dinner. I'm jealous. So this is really, really cool in making squiggly lines. So I'm going to grab my white. And when you use this kind of brush, you have to make sure your paint is nice and thin. You have to make sure your paint is nice and thin. Now, you can do this with a small brush or tiny, but make sure your paint's nice and thin. All right, so you just add a little bit of water to it. That's all you need to do. Just a little bit. And you know, and it's all right if you put too much water because jellyfish is translucent anyway. So if you see through your paint, that's fine. And I'm going to grab some red. So I'm going to grab some red paint on this liner brush. And we're going to go back in. And now you can just do some more squiggles. Okay, and now you can get the pop of the brighter colors. Now you can get the pop of the brighter colors because the stuff in the back dried. And you want to go here, there, not everywhere. Okay, here, there, not everywhere. It's very easy to overdo a jellyfish because they're fun to do, just making all these squiggly lines with colors. But if you overdo it, that's, you know, then it's just looking like a big mushy mess. So, and I'm going to grab, I put water on my brush, and I'm making my paint really, really, really thin. Really, really, really thin. Okay? And what I'm going to do from there now is I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab that fan brush that we had before. And in here, I'm just going to give a little smush, smush. Just going to give a little smush, smush in there. Okay, and then I'm going to lightly brush over all this to soften it out. So if I keep playing with this, it's going to be getting to be too much. I just wanted to show it to you. It's a little too much already. Like, we got a lot of stuff going on here. It's a little too much already. And I'm going to grab my blue paint again and put in those ones from the edge. Re-put those ones in from the edge that I smushed out. To kind of anchor it all down. And then there you have it, guys. You have a jellyfish. And, you know, like I said, obviously this is a little too much. They don't have this much in here. So when you're doing your squiggles, you might want to edit it a little bit, because this is a little out of control. But that's okay. We can get a little bit out of control. It's all good. All right. So the next one I want to show you is a seahorse. You guys want to see a seahorse? We're doing a seahorse. All right, let's do the seahorse. Let me lift my canvas a bit, and we'll do the seahorse on the bottom. We'll do the seahorse on the bottom, okay? Because then I want to show you the rays of light going through the water. I want to show you the rays of light going through the surface of the water. And I'm going to show you bubbles. You want to see a seahorse, Lynette? Awesome. All right. So I'm going to show you a seahorse, and then we're going to do rays of light, and we're going to do some bubbles. And then you guys can use all of these little tricks that I showed you. You're just going to say that, Joy? Awesome. All right. All right, Dawn. Awesome. Yep, I'll show you guys the seahorse. So you guys finish up with your jellyfish, and Shannon and I are going to Google image a seahorse. Right, Shannon? We're going to Google image a seahorse. Now, I've done like a lot of seahorses. Obviously, with paint parties, you do a lot of seahorses, but I'm still going to Google image one because I want to show you. I'm trying to show you like the cutesy shapes, and then I'm trying to show you the getting it to be more and more realistic. Okay, Shannon, I'll show you coral. Let's do the seahorse first, and then we'll do like bubbles, ray of lights, coral, stuff like that, and see how much more we get into. Okay, one seahorse coming up. Hi, Amy. How you doing, sweetie? Hi, Amy. All right, so what's the first thing we do, right? We look at our shapes. We look at our shapes. We want to get our shapes. Hi, sweetheart. So I'm swirl tap dabbing my big boy brush again, my 1-inch flat. Sounds good to me. Replays are always available. And if they're not available on my Facebook page, they're going to be always available on YouTube as they get loaded up. So, but I will notify all you guys of that. And I do apologize to everybody. Some reason they took the titles off of all my videos. I've been trying to post the videos to the event pages, so you know which ones go where. But since I have like 30 of them, probably 50 of them, it's a little bit daunting, but I'm trying to attach them all to the event pages. And if you click the video and you tap, it'll tell you the title right there, so you don't have to like watch the whole thing to get to the title. Alright, so a seahorse has a really weird shape, and I always wind up doing this like backwards. So we're gonna try. I know. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Alright, so I'm just going to grab white paint, and we're going to go in here, and a seahorse is kind of like, it has like that S thing going on, but like, sort of kind of, it's more angled. So I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to start here, I'm going to pull up, and then I want to wrap around like this. And then we're going to do the belly part like that. So it's an S. But then it wraps around and comes back to the front again. So it's kind of like a snake almost. So you start off with your S, but then when you get to the bottom, you're going to hook that around and come back to the front. Okay, guys, so that is a seahorse shape. All right, so you can make your S, but you don't want to make your S like this part being all the way out here like that. You kind of want to do a hook. So if you think of a hook this way and then a hook this way, you'll get a seahorse shape more so than if you think of the S. The S might screw you up. Because when we draw an S, we always put like we put that like tail end on the S, and you don't want that. So think of two hooks. Think of a hook that way and a hook this way, and you'll get your seahorse shape. All right. And now I'm going to go to my smaller brushes. So I am going to grab that round brush I was using before. I'm going to grab that round brush. A wonky 3. Yeah, Magna, that's definitely a wonky 3. That is for sure. So, and I made it too big. I'm going to have to do my shape over. So this is the shape, but I made it too thick in certain spots. So I'm going to do, can I make it work? I can make it work. Say, Eve, you can make it work. I can make it work. We'll make it work. Because it's just white paint. So it doesn't matter. So I'm going to grab that round brush and I'm going to grab my white paint. And I'm going to come in here. And you want to curl this around into that part. Now, this part's a little too thick, but I'm going to make it work. So you just curl that piece around. You just curl that piece around right in here. Okay? So, in a perfect world, which we don't live in, and that's all right, because Mother Nature isn't perfect. In a perfect world, this would be a lot thinner. Be a lot thinner. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab that brown paint that I did before. I'm going to grab that brown paint that I did the ocean floor with before. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take some of it out. That's why we map in white, people. That's why we map in white paint. Because you can easily take your background color and get rid of it. Okay, so that's why we do mapping in white. So I want to thin that out because I threw it a little too thick. So I'm just going to match my background colors. And that's why when you make a pile of paint of a certain color, you kind of want to make extra. So this way, if you have to use your background to cover up your shape, you have it sitting right there and you're not trying to rematch it up. So I am going to make that thinner right there. Hi, Diana. That's okay. Right? So you did a seahorse with coral and bubbles, Lisa? Yeah, so I see that one a lot. So that's why I want to concentrate on the creatures, and then you guys so when you make a background and you do a background color, make yourself extra, because then if you do a shape and you're a little off, you can fix it. You can fix it just by getting rid of it, and that's why we map in white. That's why we map in white too, because mapping in white is really, really easy to blend it right out if you mess it up. Okay, so see, that's why this is practice sessions. Eve's not perfect. I mess things up too. And, you know, that is the trick to get rid of it, because all I did was grab my back. Thank you, Diana. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Coming from you, that means a lot. Everybody, Diana is on here, and she's an amazing artist in her own right. We're all part of that Toms River community, artist community. So, there. That's the shape I want. That is the shape that I want. I'm like dying of thirst. Yes, Lisa, try the octopus and the jellyfish. It's going to be so fun. So fun. All right. So, now that I have my shape fixed, now I can go in with my white paint and add the other parts. So, I'm going to grab my white paint and I'm going to add in my detailed parts now. Okay? So, there is my nose. So we're just going to pull that out and put a little smush, a little whoop-de-doo on the end of his nose there. A little whoop-de-doo on the end of his nose. All right. And you want this part of his head to be flat. So we're going to flatten that out. You're going to flatten that out. All right, I'm going to grab some more white paint, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to make this belly part thicker. All right, so we're going to make the belly part thicker. Okay, and I'm just adding to that swoop. So I'm following it around, and I'm just pushing it out a little further. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. Okay, just grabbing that white paint and I'm just following along that shape I made before, the 2 hooks or the wonky 3 or the you know, I don't want to say S because if you try to do an S, it usually screws you up more than not. So I'm just following along those lines and making a bigger belly on them. And so you don't worry about when you're first putting your shape on, don't stress it too much because as you can see, you can easily fix it. And as you're filling it in, as you're mapping it out, as Magna reminded us tonight, as you're mapping it out, you can fix your shape as you go along. Okay, guys? So when you think of acrylic painting, think of layers. Because everything's done in layers. You don't have to get it on your initial swoop. You know what I mean? Like the swoop is just to get it in there. No worries. Not thinking. And if you need to adjust something, then you adjust it. Like I needed to adjust my shape a little bit because I couldn't fit my swirls in there. So another thing, it's called a seahorse because it looks like a horse. Right? So you want to go in and you want to put the little horse cheek in here. So you just put the little horse cheek in there. Okay? That's all you do there. Just a little horse cheek. Just like that. Yes, lots and lots and lots of layers. Okay, and then now I can go in and I can put my swirly-do. Because since I fixed my shape, I have the space for the swirly-do. So now we can put the swirly-do in. Okay, and your first 2 or 3 layers of when you're doing a shape, everybody, is that, this is when you can make it cutesy, right? You can have the shape, you color it in, you put a big eye on it, and you have a cutesy seahorse, okay? And to get things more and more realistic is when you add more and more of the small details to it. Like we did with the octopus, right? What did we do? We did the shape, we did the legs, and we did a little bit of the shading and highlights, and that's where you could have made it cutesy. And then as we moved on, we could add more and more detail. And the more and more details you put into an item, the more realistic it'll get. All right? So everybody's going to start off the same way. And if you want to turn around and make a cutesy seahorse, you got it now. You have your shape, you know what you need to do, and you're all golden. All right? Because the only thing left on the seahorse shape is his back fin. Right? And I'm just grabbing white paint. And we're going to put the back fin on him, okay? So that swoops out like this and swoops out like that. Swoop, right around, just like that. Okay, and you just fill that in. And as you're filling in, that's when you could fix your lines, you know? Like you don't have to draw your lines perfect when you first draw them in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Because when you fill it in, you can fix them. You can adjust them. You can make them a little more sharp. You can change an angle. You can do whatever you need to do to fix your initial shape. The whole thing is just put that paint on the canvas, people. Just put it on the canvas. You guys got this. Just put it on the canvas. Just get it on there. And when you get it on there, then you could turn around and you could play with your shapes. Okay? As you're filling them in, you could fix them. Okay? No worries. No worries. No worries at all. You want to keep this easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You guys got it. All right. So, some seahorses have like a little crown on the top of their head. I like doing the little crown. So you can do the little crown. Okay. So you just add that in there. I like the little crown on their head. Some have like little spikes coming out. You can do that. Okay, so get that basic shape in for yourself. And I'm going to grab my soda because I drank all my seltzer. Is anybody super thirsty with their heat being on? I think it's because my heat's on. And I'm like dying of thirst all the time. And I have a humidifier. I don't know about my fellow watchers that are in Florida and California and all that good stuff, if you're experiencing any cold weather. But I know some of my other fam out there is experiencing cold weather. Plus, I'm doing all the talking. I'm doing all the talking. So, Diana, we have a big old list in here. We have Amy just showed up, and Pearl is here, and Ann, and Lynette, and Amanda, and Christy from California. You're probably doesn't have your heat on. Lisa, and Shannon, and Kim, and Dawn, and Cheryl. Julia, Cindy, Terry, Lynette is here from Virginia. Lynette, I'm not sure if it's cold in Virginia. Ellen and Joy. We have somebody here from Hawaii. And Penny and Megna is here. And Mimi is here. We're all here practicing together. It's a lot of fun. One big happy family. Just hanging out. Doing sea creatures. Yes. Yes. Hi, everybody. So we're just hanging out doing sea creatures. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so, I know. I'm like so you guys saw me drink a coffee, a seltzer, and now I'm on to a soda. Thank you, sweetie. 63 degrees in Kansas City today. Lots of sunshine for a change. Nice, Dawn. Lynette, it's cold, right? It's cold? If any of my Canadian friends are on tonight, I know it's frigid up there. Yeah, it was like 30 degrees for us today, Dawn. And windy. It was windy. Okay, so now we can start adding our details, right? Like I said, the more details you add, the more realistic it looks. And I'm going to go into Tiny, what I use for the paint parties. Good old Tiny in the house. Tiny! And he is a number 1 round. And let's see. What color do I want my seahorse to be? Let's make him, let's do greens. All right, so let's do greens, right? Why not? So windy today. 66 degrees in California. Yep, see, you got, man, I'm so jealous. All right, let's do greens. We haven't done anything green yet. All right, so I'm going to grab my small brush. And I'm going to grab my blue and my yellow. 85, Shannon. That's not fair. I'm going to grab my blue and my yellow, make my green. Right, Nancy and Casey. So I made my green paint. And what you want to do is you just want to start off with a base color. So you just make your base color, okay? We're just starting off with our base color here. That's all I'm doing. I'm just adding some green paint on here and starting off with a base color. And I'm just filling in his face. Now that I got my shape right, now I could fill in his face. Okay, so I'm just following those lines I made before. And I'm just starting off with a base green. And then you're going to turn around and you want to do a lighter of the base color and a darker of the base color. Okay, so lighter, I'm going to grab white and yellow. I'm going to grab white and yellow for the lighter. And you want to put the highlights in, right? So we're going to go on the top of his head. We're going to add some lighter color in there. On his nose. Now, remember the one rule of thumb. The more you play with it, the bigger it's going to get. So you want to turn around and you know, like if you want an object a certain size in your painting, make it smaller than what you actually want it. Because as you play with it, the more you play with it, the bigger it's going to get. And I'm going to grab that white and yellow, and I'm going to do his cheek outline here. Make that pop. Okay, and then I'm going to grab just blue. So I wiped my brush off. I didn't necessarily clean it. Very small amount of paint again, guys. Because you're doing this all in layers. And I'm going to come in here on his nose. And I'm going to scribble that around. So I grab just blue and I'm scribbling that around on his nose. Wrapping that around right under the cheek, because that cheek is going to cause a shadow on his face. And just smushing the paint around. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going to grab those lights back again and put some of that light back on there. So basically you're just playing. You always make yourself a base color, and then you have what I call, it's called a highlight color, but, you know, you just basically make a light, you know, something to make your stuff lighter, and then you do a darker of that color. I'm going to grab just my blue again. I'm going to come in and do a little squiggle in his nose here, since that's like an open tube. And then, you know, for the spikes, you can do really cool spikes. You can do different colors. So I'm not going to get too much more into this. Like I said, it's really just about adding the details. And like what you want to do, you want to just have a base color, have a darker color, and a lighter color to do your different accents in his face and whatnot. And so now I'm going to grab just blue and do some spikes here. And then the more you do this, the more into detail you get. Okay, and the more details you put, the more he's going to look like a real seahorse. Okay, so I grabbed just blue to give him some spikes. Okay, and then behind his head, I'm going to do the darker color right in here. So we're going to do the darker color right behind his head. And in that neck area, you want the darker color. So I'm doing the darker color in his neck area right here. Swooping that around. Swoop. Swoop. And then I'm going to grab my yellow and my white to make my lighter color. I'll put that, again, very little paint right on the edge, zig-a-zag-a-zoom. Very little paint right on the edge, zig-a-zag-a-zoom. Okay, very little paint right there on the edge, and then you zig-a-zag-a-zoom until you're darker. Okay, that's how you do that. All right, that's how you get that effect. That's how you get that... That's how you get that graduation, graduation, I think that's the word, of colors. Okay, that's how you do that. That is how you get that color going in. And if you grab too much paint and you lost your dark, just grab the dark and put it back in. All right, so if you lost your dark, you just grab some dark paint and you go on the other side and you put your dark back in. And you just zig-a-zag-a-zoom until they meet. That's all. You just zig-a-zag-a-zoom until they meet. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. He's alive! Right, Diana? Diana said he's coming alive as I'm doing this. Yes, he's alive. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my base color green again. And I'm going to switch to a bigger brush so I'm not filling this in with tiny the whole time. So let's go back to that round brush I had before. He's alive, everybody, he's alive. That's right. So I'm going to grab that base color green that I had before. Okay, and again, I didn't make enough of it. So when you make a base color, make sure you make enough of it. Okay, and I'm going to take this round brush. I went back to that round from before. I'm just going to fill this in with the base color. Just like that. See, you guys got this. This isn't hard stuff. This isn't hard at all. You just don't know the little bit of the little tricks on how to do this. And that's what I'm here for. So I hope you guys are learning stuff as I'm going along tonight. And so I'm going to add that base color back in. All right. And then I'm going to grab that, just the blue. I'm going to grab just the blue. And I'm going to come in here, and where his fin is going to be a shadow where his fin is. So I put that on the edge, and I just swish it back and forth. Very light touch, and mix it into that base color. Just swishing it back and forth. That's it. And following my shape. Okay, following that shape. See how that arches like this? So I'm going to arch my darker color like that. Okay. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush. And I'm going to grab that yellow and that white. So I'm not sure what colors you guys made your seahorses, the ones that are painting along with me. But it's the same concept. So I'm going to grab that white, and I'm going to grab that yellow, and I'm going to follow around his belly here. And again, I'm just going to very lightly smush that in, here, there, not everywhere. And notice how his belly got bigger, because the more you play with it, the bigger it gets. It's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. Okay? And I am a classic person of losing my dark. I do it all the time. So now I have to put some dark back in. I do it all the time. I always paint. I paint my dark in, and then I go nutty with the lighter colors, and I lose my dark. So, but I'm not going to worry about it, because I can turn around and put it right back in again. Right? So I'm just grabbing my dark paint. And I'm putting that in on the top of his torso here, right before his big old horse belly. And then I'm going to pull this down. Just going to pull it down into the tail. Right? I'm just using the extra paint that's on my brush now. I'm not even grabbing more paint. I'm just using the extra paint that's on my brush. Okay? Now that I'm out of paint on my brush, I'm going to grab that base color. I'm going to fill that in. So just like we did the octopus, right? Like, you want to do this while your paint is wet, especially with acrylic. Because if you do this, if you do these different shades of color, and your paint's drying, you're going to wind up just repainting the whole thing. And now I've done that 6,000 times. I've repainted the whole thing more than, like, I don't know what, because I always try to go in and my paint is too dry. So that's why I'm doing a section at a time. So now I'm going to switch it. I'm going to put the dark on the inside of here. I just grabbed a little bit of blue paint. I'm going to the edge of my seahorse, and I'm putting that line in. And then I'm just zigzag a zoom. That's it. Just zigzag zoom a little bit into your other color. That's all you need to do. All you need to do. And if you notice, I'm doing this section by section, so I turn around and my paint stays wet. Like if I went and painted this all the base color, by the time I got back to do the head, it would be dry and I'd be starting all over. So you want to make sure that you're doing this as your paint is still wet. All right, guys? Everybody still with me out there? I hope you are. I'm going to grab my lighter colors. I'm going to come in and do my lighter colors on the outside of his tail. Right? And again, just zigzag zoom into the center. That's all you need to do. You just follow this around. And I'm just pulling my paint around. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Just pulling it around and around, taking that original green color that I used, putting that on. Now, so if you want to do the cutesy seahorse, right, you just turn around and you paint your initial shape. And then you just color it in. You don't have to worry about adding the darks and the lights. You can just color it in one like flat color. And add a couple of googly eyes and bada bing, just like that, you have a seahorse. But if you notice, like I said, the more details you add, the more realistic it becomes. So by me adding the shadow and highlights, I'm getting closer and closer to having a real seahorse and not just a cutesy one. All right, so I put that base color of green in there. I'm going to grab my blue paint, just a small amount of blue paint. I'm going to come in, and on the inside of that swirl is where it's going to be dark. So I just dab that in, and then I just push it into the base color of green. Okay, and I'll dab that in, and small, how much paint? Small amount of paint. Okay, and we're just going to put that in, and as you get closer and closer to the inside of your swirl, the darker it's going to get. So I'm going to grab more blue paint, just blue, and I'm going to put that in the darker, because that inside of that swirl is going to be dark green. Okay, or a darker color. So you just push that in there like that. Okay, and I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to grab my white and my yellow. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add the highlight now, right? So, this sounds like very technical terms. It sounds like it's really hard to do. I'm saying base colors. I'm saying highlights. I'm saying all this fancy words and stuff. It's not that hard to do. You make a color, right? You turn around and you grab, you can use black if you want, or you can grab another color, and usually, I don't want to get technical. So anyway, and mix it in and make a darker shade of that color. Then you turn around and you take that color you made and you grab some white, or you grab a lighter color of paint and you make a lighter shade of that color. And literally you're working with the three colors and you're just playing back and forth. We did the same thing with the octopus. You know, we did the same thing with the jellyfish when we made the head of the jellyfish. We're doing the same thing with the seahorse. You're just turning around and doing a lighter and darker version of the color you made. And you put it in the certain spots. It's a small amount of paint, and you just build off of there. So the top part of his circle here is going to have, you know, and you know, I'm doing this to where this is where the basic highlights would go, just with general light. You know, like you could turn around and switch your light source up and all this would change, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there, that's for sure. So, and I'm just grabbing my lighter color now, and I'm just putting in the lighter color. And that's it. Okay, and you want to put, you know, as it's spinning around, you can put a little bit in there, all right? And then I've got to color in my fin, right? So I'm going to take my base color again. Now, does your fin have to be the color of the seahorse? Heck no. Heck no, it don't. It really does not. You know, you can have fun with this. You can add certain colors. They're under the water, so that's really cool. So I'm just adding my base color of green that I had before, filling in my fin. Just filling that in. You know, getting my shape exactly the way I want it to. Because, you know, like if you can't draw, that's all right. It's okay. You just take it by shapes. And as you're filling them in, you can fix them. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to grab my darker color. I'm going to come in here, and it's going to be dark right here. So I put my darker color in there, and I'm going to follow the shape of the fin and put all these little dashes in there of the darker color. See me dashing? Dashing through the snow. Oh, let's not say snow. Let's not say snow. Alright. So, and then I'm going to grab my lighter color, which is the white and the yellow, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just pull off from there. Just pull off from there, and I'm just doing little dash marks. That's all I'm doing. And it's giving that cut edge, like the spikes that seahorses have. Okay? And if you got a little happy with that, like I said, I always lose my dark. That's my thing. Everybody has a thing. That's my thing. I always wind up losing my darks. Always, 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 always. Always, always, always. So, I want to turn around and put that in. Okay? Just like that. And there you guys go. So that, you know, and now you can go in and you can add his eye in. You can add like more spikes. You can add his, you know, like little sections of color. You don't have to make it all the same colors like I did. Whatever you need to do, all right? And just like Diana said, bada bing, we have a seahorse. You know what I mean? And you guys got this. You can totally do this. You can totally do this. So let me leave this up here so those of you that are practicing with me can see. Okay, like I said, you're just adding darks and lights. You're just adding darks and lights of that color that you made. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. All you're doing. So all my peeps out there, all my fam that's practicing along with me, take a minute, finish up your seahorse. I'm sure it looks amazing. I'm going to post on the event page. And some of you asked me for coral. So I'm going to do coral, some bubbles, and some light. Okay, Lisa, I totally want to see yours in the beginning. Thank you, Dawn. I totally want to see you guys from the beginning. And that's why I'm showing you this stuff. Lisa, you hit on a really good point. So let's chat a minute. Let's chat. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody. So you're all beginning, and it's okay. You have to begin somewhere. And this is practice. And this is why this is practice, because I'm showing you certain things that you can put into your paintings that will make them just that much more. And it's always, always, always you practicing. So your paintings in the beginning, you had to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere. We all start somewhere. And it's all just the fun and having fun with it and practicing with it and doing all these cool little things and making it just a little bit better each time you paint. Because Lisa, you've been painting with me since, you told me October. I see your paintings now. You compare them to the paintings when you first started. My goodness, woman. And Magna, same thing with you. You know, everybody out there that's been painting with me for a while, you can see such an improvement. And it's just you guys having fun. That's the amazing thing. Oh, yes, Cheryl, that would be good. Is that on the list already? Is that on the list already, the mythical creatures? I'm not really sure. I'll have to look. I know that's right up Magna's alley. No, that is not. You know, because I did the paint party with the dragon. Oh, like April. Okay. So, all right. Sorry about that, Lisa. Mythical creatures. We're writing it on the list. We're writing it on the list there, Cheryl. I got you. Okay. So as you guys practice along. You guys practice along, and then you just want to add more and more details. Like, I could paint the seahorse forever. Like the seahorse, like the eye, right? I'm going to grab some black paint on my tiny brush, and I'm going to put the eye in, right? And then around their eye, they actually have like little scales coming out. Like from around their eye, like it looks like a little bullseye. So I'm going to grab my lighter paint. And I'm going to go around my eyeball like this. Because they actually have like a whole thing that surrounds their eye like that. Dragons. Yes, I did a paint party of dragons, Cheryl. Diana is saying, yes, it is a journey. It does get better and better. Agree. Don't be afraid to paint. In fact, mistakes could actually be an asset. You'll keep as you go. Keep painting. And thank you so much for that, Lisa. She says that I am a great instructor. And, you know, So Seahorse's eyes are really cool because they have like plates going around them. So you can grab your lighter color and go around your eyeball, and then you just turn around the eyeball and you put these little lines coming out. Boop, 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 boop. Just like that. And then you want to surround it with some dark paint. Shoop, shoop, right around. And then put your dot back in. So, anyway, if you start getting into scales, though, we'll be here until next week. But I know that seahorses have that, like, cool little plate around their eyes. And then you can extend that into the rest of your seahorse. Thank you guys so much for that. Thank you so much. Thanks. All right. So, somebody wanted to see coral. So, let's do coral. And we're going to do bubbles coming out of the coral. And then we're going to do light rays coming into your water. And everybody that had other ideas for tonight, when I post Sea Creatures Part 2, post it in there, all right? Because there's so much stuff that's under the water that's amazing. It's like a whole other planet. A whole other planet. All right, guys. So, bada bing. Coral, right? Remember we did our sea bottom with our palette knife. Those of you that are painting with the palette knife. Good stuff. Good looks. Good looks. Okay, so we're going to do some coral. Well, oh, you know what? Let's do some coral with the palette knife. Okay, I'll show you. So, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Those of you asking for coral and different little cone things, let's do a cone coral. And I'm going to turn around with my palette knife. And guess what paint I'm going to grab first, guys? Guess what color paint? You guys got it out there? Come on. Come on, everybody. Shake it up a bit. What paint am I going to grab to do my coral? Diane, Ami, and Lynette, and Ellen, and Joy, and Penny, and Magna, Shannon, Cindy, Julia. What paint am I going to grab to do my coral? What's the first paint I'm going to grab? What's the first thing? You guys got this. You know. Dawn said red. We're not gonna grab red. I'm going to grab the color that I map with. Let's put it that way. Lisa said red. Yeah, right? Because red's my favorite. You guys said that because you know red's my favorite color. Walrus, sea dolphin, whale, stingray, whites. Lynette got it. Ding, 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 ding. Good job, Lynette. You are, oh, my painting fan. You guys said red because you know that's my favorite color. First thing's white. White. You guys got it. All right. Woo woo. We're paying attention out there. Good looks. Good looks. I like it. I like it a lot. So, we're going to grab my handy dandy palette knife. Why not, right? And we're going to grab some white paint. You guys are so good. So good. And this one I'm going to pay attention to. So, I'm going to do that Bob Ross thing that he does, right? We're going to lay it nice and flat. And lay it nice and flat like that. Right? Wipe off your knife. And it took me forever to figure out how he does this. This is how he does it, right? So you pull it nice and flat. You take your palette knife and you pull it across. Pushing a little bit. You just push a little bit as you pull it across. And that's how you get that roll of paint that he always talks about. That little roll of paint, you push it as you're cutting across. Okay, that's how you do that. And coral... If we do the, I don't know what, I'm going to do the tubes. I don't know if that's what you guys wanted to see, but I'm going to do the tubes. Okay? The other coral, the ones that look like trees, you can do it just like a tree or just like your squiggly lines with the jellyfish. Okay? So I'm going to do the tube coral. So I'm going to go in a circular motion, right? So if it's round, you go round. So I'm just going to put in, with my palette knife, I'm just going to put in these tube shapes. With my white paint, you guys are so smart. I'm telling you, I can't stand it how smart you are. Can't stand it. And those of you that knew my favorite color, you guys are awesome too. I love it. I love it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to go on that side, and then I'm going to turn around, and if I was painting in front of it, obviously this would be a little more graceful. I'm going to go on this side, and all I'm doing is a tube shape. Now, you can do this with your flat brush. You can do this with anything you want. I just, you know, I figured this is practice, and those of you that are scared of your palette knife, don't be scared. Don't be scared. You can do this too. Okay, so let's do another tube over here. And I'm just doing a swoopy motion. That's all I'm doing. Just swooping it. That is it. That is all I'm doing. All I'm doing. Swoop, swoop, swoop. Okay, so those of you that are afraid of your palette knife, don't be scared. Just getting a little amount of paint on the tip of that palette knife. I'm pressing it into my canvas and I'm pulling. I'm swooping. I'm swooping, baby. We're swooping. Yes. Yes, we are. We're swooping. We're swooping. Swoop, swoop, swoop. Yes. Let's get 3 tubes on here. Let's do the 3. Go on the other side. Swoop from the other side. Alright. So, now we can add the colors. So I'm going to wipe off my knife, and I'm going to grab some red. I'm going to grab some red with that. Grab some red paint, mush that nice and flat. I'm going to grab some yellow paint, mush that nice and flat. So my palette's a big old mess. I'm going to have all these different colors. I got red and white on here. See that? Red and white. And now I'm going to swoop with that. So you just want to hold your knife, and you're going to turn around and swoop, and you're going to get all the separation of color. See that? And leave it alone. Because if you go to play with this, you're going to wind up blending it all together, and you won't have all those cool colors happen. Okay? So leave it alone. Do a little smushing here and there, you know, just a little bit. But for the most part, leave it alone. Alright, I'm going to put those colors back on my knife again. Come over here. Let's grab and just circular motions going across. It's all I'm doing. It's all I'm doing. Circular motions. Little swoops. That's it. All I'm doing. So, if you want all that amazing breakage of color, that's how you do that with the palette knife. Now, can you do this with your flat brush? Absolutely. You can do this with a flat brush. You can do this with any brush you want to. It's the same concept. You put all the colors on your brush, you do a little swoop with it, and you leave it alone. You leave it alone. Let it dry. Let it dry, and then you can go back in once it dries and add the dark and light to it. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and then I'll show you how to finish those off. I'm going to wipe off my knife. All right, and you just do a little swirl in the water, and then you can wipe your knife off. They're really easy to clean. And I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to grab my my small brush, my tiny brush. Tiny in the house. Oh, yeah. Tiny is in the house. And I'm going to grab black. I'm going to go with black for the darker thing. I'm going to come in here, and you're going to do your tops of your tubes. Swoop. Just put a little circle there. And let's put a little circle there. A little circle there. Okay, tops of the tubes. Da, 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 da. Tops of tubes. There we go. All right, we're going to let that dry. So, while that's drying, I'm going to do my bubbles. All right, so bubbles round. And the bubble is kind of like how we did the jellyfish. Same type of concept. So, I'm going to grab my white paint on my tiny brush. And I'm going to come up here. And I'm just going to do a circle. So if you can't draw a circle, do a parentheses and a parentheses. right? Parentheses and a parentheses. That's all you need to do. And you will get a circle. Now, I didn't grab any more paint because I actually want this to be see-through. So, parentheses and a parentheses. Parentheses that way, parentheses this way. There's your circle, okay? And I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm going to give it a little bit of a swirl tap dab. I'm going to come in here. And again, I'm going to smush from the edge into the circle. Smush from the edge into the circle. Okay, smush from the edge into the circle. Smush from the edge into the circle. And like I just said 3 times, I'm going to smush from the edge and push it into the circle. Okay? Just like that. And then you have a bubble that looks see-through. That's it. That's it. Thank you so much, Diane. So, now, once you have that, the same thing with the jellyfish. You got to do your darks and your lights. And bubbles turn around and they pick up colors from around them. Same with water droplets. Same with anything to do with water. They pick up colors that are from around them. So, this bubble's hanging out with the coral, right? So it's going to be picking up the colors of the coral. So I'm going to grab that red and I'm going to grab that yellow. All right, I'm just going to do a little dab, not to get it all mixed together. Come in here and I want to put the color of the coral here. So I'm going to put a little bit of color right there. Thank you so much, Joy. And I'm going to put a little bit of the color on the opposite side. Just smush it in. Not a lot of paint at all. Right? Not a lot of paint at all. So I'm going to grab a little bit more paint for this guy. I'm going to put in the color of the coral. I'm going to smush it in on the other edge. Alright? Grab my red and my yellow. Do a little dab. My smaller bubble. Put the color in of the coral. Put a little on the other edge. Color the coral, other edge. I just got coral all over my hand. Okay, so you want to put the colors that are around your bubbles into your bubble. All right. Then I'm going to grab my blue because it's obviously picking up blue. It's sitting in blue. I'm going to grab just my blue paint and I'm going to go into my bubble and I'm going to put in some of the blues. Okay, and just go in a circular motion, here, there, not everywhere. You're just putting in some of your blues. All right, so just put those back in there. Wherever you think they should be. Okay, because it's picking up the color of the ocean. All right, swirl that out. Swirl, tap, dab your brush. Grab your clean white. Pow, clean white. Come back in. And put your nice white line on that side. Put a small one over here. Another small one over there. Here and there, not everywhere. Let me give you a close-up as much as I can with my camera. Earthquake! There you go. And then you're going to just put a few of these right around. And there is your bubble. Okay? So that is it. That's how you make a bubble, guys. You just turn around and you pick up the colors that are around it and you follow the shape of the circle and you put your little white highlights here, there, everywhere. Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much. So Joy said that she had her daughter and her friend dropped in. Her friend is an artist and she loves my work. Thank you so much. I'd love to see her work too. So you guys can send me a message. Yes, there's no music on practice session days, Magna, because I want everybody to hear me clearly. So some people said that the music is a little distracting. So for our practice sessions, I don't use the music. We're just going to turn around and... music is for when we're partying on Fridays. So there you go, Cheryl. There's your bubble, sweetheart. There's your bubbles. I got your bubbles for you. We got to wait on the water droplets, though. All right, so now my coral is dry. Now that my coral is dry, I can go in. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Now that this is dry, I can go in and add, for the most part, go in and add my lights and darks. So I'm just going to grab my flat brush from before. I'm going to grab Big Boy from the paint parties. And I'm going to go in. So swirl, tap, tap, Big Boy. I can't wait to see it. All right, giving him a good swirl. The more you swirl, cleaner he'll get. And you want to grab just, I'm going to grab just my red. And I'm going to grab the smallest amount of black. The tiniest, tiniest amount of black. Like hardly any at all. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow. Okay, to get this darker version of what I painted on my coral. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to swoop with this. Okay, I'm going to swoop with that. Now I need a little more black because it is not dark enough. It's literally the same color of my coral. So I'm going to grab a little bit more black to make it darker. And I'm just going to do little swoops. Little swoops. Just like that. Darken it out. Okay, so you want to darken it out on the edges here. And this is where you control freaks, if you want to get really particular, you can turn around and, you know, get all your colors just the way you want them. So remember when I did 3D shapes and we did tubes and cones and all that good stuff? Same concepts. So I'm going to do my darker colors on there. And now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to grab my lighter colors. So I'm just going to grab the yellow. Just going to grab yellow. You know why? Because it's going to go do this coolest thing. It's going to make this pop with like a golden color. So I'm grabbing just my yellow. And I'm going to go right in the center of these guys. And I'm going to do just yellow. Just yellow. Choop, choop, choop. And everything is a circular motion. Because these are round. So if they're round, if an object is round, you do round brush strokes. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those in there. Pop that color in there. Just like that. And then the last thing I want to do is I have to finish off my top. Because you're going to see the other side of the top of the coral. Alright, so I'm going to grab my red. I'm going to grab my yellow. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Mush those all together. Grab some more red. Grab some more yellow because I grabbed too much white. So I'm just going to kerplunk it. Spin my brush around. Come up to my tops. And I got to do the other side of the coral. Got to do the other side. Okay, so you want to finish off your tops. Just like that. I'm going to grab a little bit of black. Fix my ovals a little bit. And voila! There you guys go. Alright, so I'm going to show you the trick of putting your sun rays in your water. And we're going to be all set for the night, guys. So, sun rays in water, you ready? It's so hard. It's just so hard to do. I can't stand it. Can't stand it how hard it is to do. So, I'm going to grab that fan brush from before. And then you can do this, I'll show you with the flat too, alright? But I'm going to do it with the fan brush because, you know, this is practice. So, I want you guys to practice with all these kooky little brushes that you see that you might not normally use. So, I'm going to use the fan brush. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab my whites paint. Just a little bit on the tip. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, guys. Just that. And I want to make sure I have a soft brush that's dry on deck. And you're going to come in and you're going to go to the surface of your water and you're very simply just going to do, now it has to be straight. It has to be a straight line. has to be straight. Okay, so because when you see sun rays and you see rays of light, they're always perfectly straight, which is amazing to me. So move your arm, not the brush. Move your arm, not the brush, right? So put this on the canvas, move your arm, not the brush. Right? Move your arm, not the brush. And then you could smooth it out. I have to grab a little more paint on my brush. I kind of ran out. All right, so move your arm, not the brush. Okay, and then as you do this, once you get a few of these in for yourself, move your arm, not the brush. Okay, and you're going to do some sideways, some zigzags here. Do some zigzags here and zigzags up here. Again, you want to keep it straight. Keep it straight. Okay, I'm going to do some zigzags there. And then you take your dry brush and you brush over the top of it and soften it out. And that, my friends, is how you get rays of light coming through your water. So I'll show you with the flat brush, okay? So I'll show you with big boy. I will show you with the bigger boy. Okay, so I gotta get them nice and clean. Now, can you do the yellow? Once you do the white, then you could add the yellow rays on top of it. You can play around with that. So I'm going to grab my white paint with my nice clean big boy brush. Put it just on the tip. Dab some of it out. So I'm going to literally dab it on my paper towel. So most of the paint is out of the brush. I'm going to come up in here. Move your arm, not the brush. Move your arm, not the brush. Okay, so it all is the amount of paint you have on your brush. So I have this amount of paint. I'm going to dab it on my paper towel, take most of it off. I'm going to move my arm, not the brush. Because these have to be straight. Okay, say it's hitting my octopus right there, right? So then I just put a little swoop, swoop, swoop on my octopus head. Like he's getting hit by some light. Okay, and on the bottom, let me put another stripe in there so I can show you the bottom. Move my arm, not the brush. And then on the bottom, you just do a little zigzag. Just do little zigzags on the bottom. And you can do little zigzags through. Zigzag a zoom. Zigzag zoom, people. That's all you need to do. All right, do nice straight motions. And then you can take your dry brush and you soften it all out. Following. First you follow your lines. And then you could soften it out this way. Just all here, there, not everywhere. And then if you want it like sunlight, you grab your yellow paint. Just a small amount on your brush. See, I grab my paint, it looks like this. So I'm going to dab it on my paper towel. Now it looks like that. See that? All right? And then I could just follow the white. So you have to put the white first, because otherwise you're going to wind up with green. Moving my arm, not the brush, and then I could put some straight lines in here of some sun rays really blasting through. Okay? And that's how you do it, having the yellow light. All right? So, I think I'm about all talked out. And I think you guys are absolutely 6,000% amazing. So let me move this back for you. My name is Eve. This is Eve's Creations Paint Party. I hope you guys learned lots of stuff through our practice session. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is free to watch. Tips are appreciated. I have Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. I'm going to share the link now. And I just hope you all go and create and have fun, because I'm really bad at trying to do two things at once. There's the links. All right, so I hope you all go create and have fun. and y'all warm my heart. All right, if you have any more questions, I'm still on for a minute. Those on the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Any questions, always message me. Those that joined me live, thank you so much for joining me live. I love my family, and I'm so glad that you were here tonight. Thank you so much for that, Diana. So anybody that has sent me support before, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Magna. Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. I hope you have fun. I hope you make these amazing sea creature paintings. And I hope you learned a lot. You're so welcome, Julia. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Michelle. Bye, sweetheart. I can't wait to see it too. Magna, I can't wait to see your painting. I will post a spot on the event page. Remind your mom to post it. Okay, so you're so welcome, Julia. Thank you, everyone. We'll definitely do a Sea Creatures Part 2. Lots more to learn. Thank you so much, Joy. Good night, Diana. Yeah, time goes fast, right, Joy? That was 2 hours. Actually, 2.5. That was 2.5 hours of painting. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for the support. Everyone who has sent support before, thank you so much. It really warms my heart. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mimi, Magna, Penny, Joy, Ellen, Lynette. You guys know I love roll call. Tari, Cindy, Julia, Cheryl, Dawn, and Kim, Diane, Ami, Pearl, Ann, Lynette, Amanda, Christy, Lisa, and Shannon. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. I'll see you all on Friday. Oh, I forgot to show you Friday. All right, I'll show you Friday. Friday. Da-da-da-da-da. Friday is Clover Hill. Yes, it is. Yes. This Friday. Okay, guys? So I'll see you then. I'll see everybody then. Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Eve. This is Eve's Art, Eve's Creations Paint Party. Hope you all had fun. Go create.